Today, I have invited John Daniels to come and share about what he offers to businesses that are servicing a local area. Hi, John. How are you?
Amazing, Lois. It's fantastic to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, what can you tell everybody what you do?
Amazing. Well, I'll tell you one of my earliest memories. My mom had this like jewelry box. I'm sure you guys have, or your wife has this like, and like this box of jewelry and like the necklaces and things all in there and all getting tangled and stuff. And I used to love as a kid just sitting there laboriously untangling all of these things. 25 years in digital marketing later, after working with more than 400 businesses across 4 continents, I feel like I'm still doing that, right? Because you've got businesses over here, your customers over here, in the middle, stuff. And man alive, the stuff just seems to be getting more automation, business processes. And now with AI, it's getting even more crazy. And it's my great joy to go and see, how do we simplify that stuff and how do we get customers more joy and throughput through the system? For the first 10 years of my career, I thought that mastery of marketing and services and digital was about adding more things. The last 15 years, I've been really focused on how do you remove things? How do we get by with the least amount of fiddly nonsense and really get clean systems that help customers get joy so that you can serve the people you want to do, but also then as a business owner, live the life you want to live.
Well, that sounds like what we all want. So tell us what we need
Amazing.
to do, man.
Amazing. What I want to share with you is just what kind of a 3-step framework I've developed working with businesses just to kind of how to untangle that mess. So I'm going to share kind of a little bit of overview of kind of where we are, what the challenges, what are some of the challenges, what are the benefits we want, and then, just practically how do we step through that? It's not going to be technical, crazy thing. I'm going to just kind of share the common sense steps. If you do want to get into the weeds with it, I'd love to talk to you one-to-one and apply this to your specific situation. But for today, I just want to go bird's eye view. How do we untangle that mess? Introduce some structure, introduce some predictability, and do that in a way that doesn't drive us nuts and is actually kind of practical and works in the real world, not just theoretically. So that's good. Let's do the quick test here. I'll share with you the slides, what I call simplifying business operations, overcome chaos, achieve seamless growth and client satisfaction without the stress. Right. So with that, I'm going to just dive straight in. What are some of the things I see when businesses start to get a level of growth? Now, what happens is you start off, it's just you. You have a trade, you know what you're good at, you're out there, you're doing your stuff. And you're like, yeah, I can do this. And honestly, most of us went into business thinking, hey, what I want is freedom, right? And what you end up realizing is you end up you trade working 40 hours a week for someone else to working 80 hours a week for yourself, often for half the money, right? But you work, you get your skills, you get your trade, and you start to add more people. But what you realize very quickly is that what used to be all in your head, one system, zero data loss, 100% integration, the moment you start bringing other people into this, you've got different perspectives on here, right? One of my favorite things that happens is sales and marketing split between two different people. Now, you've got marketers over here trying to get leads, sales trying to close leads, both of them fighting each other. And if you've never seen what an integrated system looks like, trying to assemble that, very, very tricky. And especially most marketers have never seen what an integrated system looks like. So it seems tricky. And you get this blame game. Then you've got operations. Then you've got your cleaning staff. Then you've got, the back office staff. And man alive, it gets crazy. What does that look like? And, most of us, I'm a systems guy. I love doing systems, but there's things I'm not good at. Like I don't particularly like accounting. Not really my jam. I definitely do not try and fix my own car. I don't cut my own hair. And often in business, you need to be good at all of these things, right? So what happens is you start to get your business running, and those bits of pieces that you're not good at start to chafe a little bit. So what happens is these systems are not clean. You end up having disorganized job management. You have lack of business visibility. You're not really sure what's going on or where or how. The clients are phoning, what's happening with my job? And you're like, whoa, crazy. Trying to keep this in your head, very hard. Client communication, them not knowing what's going on and where, collecting money, who needs to be invoiced and when. And often we find ourselves kind of running, from crisis to crisis and trying to get a handle on this thing. Working with a lot of unfamiliar systems can feel like a lot. And you add more people doesn't always add more solutions. Often it adds more challenges. But there is a better way. This is fortunately what I have seen is most businesses have this, but yet consistently there is a way past that. There is something on the other side of that. Right. So what I think, when I looked at systems generally, I thought, how do we reduce the number of systems, first of all, so that we can just build everything in one system, or at least fewer systems. And in that way, at least reduce the number of moving parts. So again, I want less, not more. How do we make things simple? So this is the three-step process of kind of how do we turn the chaos into clarity, right? And it works a little bit counterintuitively. You'd think that you'd start off with find out where all the customers are, find out where all the leads are coming in, then try and clear up the quotation process, then clear up the delivery process. What I found in practice is it actually works the other way around. Practically, is start with your customers, right? Get a list of where they are, all the people that have actually paid you money, and where did they come from, right? Then, which leads quite naturally to the what I call the entry points, which is that there are actually a finite number of places that new people can come into your system, into your business, right? It's not. It seems like it. The phone's ringing, the website inquiry, the chatbot, the email. It seems like a lot until you write them all down, right? And given that you've got all the customers in front of you, that can be a good place to start because you're working on solid ground. This is where these customers actually came from, not all the crazy things that are kind of going out there. And now you've got your two pillars. You've got where did they come from, where could they come from, and now you've got space in between. And this is where we can start to create some order, right? All right, amazing. So I'm just going to move on. So how do we get? Let's double click into this. So there's the high level strategy. Start with the customers, then tag the entry points, then map the communication stages, and that'll give you the chaos and the order in between. So let me tell you a story about a cleaning company that I started working with. They're called Peach Cleaning, and they're based here in Edinburgh. So my accent, I appreciate it's a little bit strange. I'm actually originally from South Africa. I currently live in Edinburgh, and most of my clients are in the US. So my accent is all over the place. I've also, it's given me a perspective on how businesses happen in different countries. So very interesting. In South Africa, very, very cowboy, very Wild West. If you can get the job, if you know a guy who knows a guy who can kind of deal, you get it done because no one's coming to save you. In the UK, very structured. Everything has got a rule and a regulation and a permit and a very specific type of person, and three people have to check it, and four kinds of insurance have to happen, and it's very crazy. And in the US, somewhere in between. You guys have got some special stuff going on as well, and in temperament a lot closer to my native South Africans than British people because you're like, yeah, I think we should do that. Go, right? Uh, so anyway, so they're a cleaning company, and they had common challenges. A really good guy. He's the owner. He's a young kid, really, really ambitious. I say young kid. He's like late 20s. I'm like in my 40s, so not like that's like young kid. Really, really talented guy. But he's like, hey, I want to go and do this business. But he's never run an end-to-end business before, so he's made all of the same challenge, same mistakes we all do, right? When you're like, oh, this is easy, and you think it's easy because you haven't done the hard bits. But what he notices a gap is that there's a lot of Airbnbs and a lot of people renting out their properties. Very, very hard to get good cleaning done over here. Immigration laws, a bunch of things that kind of impact that. But he saw a gap in the market. He was like, "Hey, let's go and create a cleaning company." Worked out the hiring, found out he can get good people, found out he can get the jobs done. But he started to face these challenges when things got busy. Right? Business missed emails, inbox went absolutely crazy. Trying to manage jobs or project management to do email, very, very complicated. Last minute schedule changes, especially with Airbnbs, you schedule a change, then somebody at your booking gets cancelled, you get a last minute booking coming in, very confusing. His pipeline, his system for managing the jobs, I kid you not, was a whiteboard on the thing. And it didn't even have lines on it, it just had blobs on it, all the people in different colors, and that was the system.
I think we've
Um,
all been there.
I mean, you reach for what and
Yeah.
you'll see behind me if I still love a whiteboard. But that was the system. That was the system. But common problem, poor visibility. Clients would phone and go, "What's going on with my job?" For the cleaners, they have the other side of the problem is they're trying to get into it. They're trying to get into a building. What's the code? Can't get in. Do they like it cleaned with organic products or non-organic products? Do we have 2 hours to clean or is it a 4 hour clean? And it's like you're trying to find these things and manage this stuff asynchronously. The cleaners are trying to do their job. The admin office is trying to help them, but man, the information is just all over the place. manual timesheets, bane of their existence, trying to remember who did what. And every Friday it's chaos because everyone's sprinting around trying to remember what the hell they did, trying to get the timesheets in, trying to get paid, trying to reconcile all the stuff. It's chaos. Um, and I mean, I say it's chaos. Like they got by, right? It's a business that's making money, but you know, every, the stress factor is there, and most stressful, it's stressful for the owner, right? And then clients, what's happening with my job? What's cleaning? There's no onboarding or scope confirmation. They're getting a clean done, but you as the business owner think that your client knows how your business works. Not always, right? You have clear expectation management the first 50 times, and then you kind of think it's happening, but it's not consistent, right? So sometimes there's these misaligned expectations, right? Business stuff, right? This is real. This is the reality for all of us. So apply the three-step process. Firstly, CRM setup. Worked out, show me all your clients, right? Wrote them down on the whiteboard, got them down, and just wrote down what you actually need to know. Give it all, put it in a spreadsheet. Okay. Figure out like what are the individual things, what do you actually need to know. Write it all down in a spreadsheet, right? Are they once a weekly? Just get it down in one place. So then for each one, where did they come from? And it turns out there's three main areas that new business comes in. One is a form on their website, two is phone calls from their Google business listing, and three is referrals. We're like, okay, it's not a million, it's just three. And that's probably, if there's the odd exception, fine, but clean, tight systems for those three, suddenly website form on the website, Google business integration, and a referral form that they could just double click on the website and type it in. Boom. Got that in. So that was lead capture, got all the lead capture integrated so that all of that happens. There's no more manual process. They had a manual process where website form had to be recaptured into a secondary system. Put it all in one system, it happens automatically. And smart forms, as soon as they say, great, new client comes in, all that information captured again in the same system. So pipeline stages: one, lead captured, quote sent, quote approved, job scheduled, job pending, job completed, feedback, internal feedback received, review solicited, review requested. Make sense?
Yeah, that looks good.
So that's the client. And so once you've got the clients, it's like, so on the one hand, this is where they come in, this is where they go out, and in the middle, you've got clear steps of communication. Then on the top, that is all the information that the clients need to get. And internally, for each stage, what is the information that your staff needs to get? So when a new lead is captured, client gets, hey, welcome, we've got your lead. Staff gets, hey, there's a new lead. Quote sent, going, hey, here's the quote. All the standardized terms and conditions, everything you need to know. Also, the quote's being front loaded with all of the captured lead information because we captured it clearly to make the quote very easy. When the quote gets approved, it says, congratulations, it's approved. All the right information is centrally stored and gets sent to the right people who are doing the job so that they get sent everything they need when the job gets booked on the day of the job, an hour before the job. It's the same information, but why not send it three times? Because why should they have to look around for it, right? Just make sure that everybody has everything that they need anytime they're looking for it. All right, job pending. Hey, we're going to be arriving tomorrow. We'll be arriving today. We'll be arriving in an hour. All automated because you know what time the job is. Job completed. Let them know that it's done. Let them know what's already been happened. And then feedback is quite important. It's a two-step process. One is they ask the client for feedback on a scale of 1 to 10. How good was the service? If they say 5, then they get asked for an online review. But if they don't get asked for 4 or less, they get indirected to the customer service team that says, hi, I noticed that everything wasn't perfect. What happened? Then get them handled so that only the best reviews reach the public space. And so once that was all done, what was the result? For the clients, they were well informed, over communicated, they knew exactly what was happening. No more chasing for updates, easy self-booking, embedded calendars, increased trust, increased referrals. Frontline staff, no more mental load of who needs what when, auto task created and follow-up, one dashboard to track all the open jobs, internal Slack and email alerts if anything gets stuck or anything is not, people aren't where they're supposed to be. Right? Also, single source of the truth. So if someone wants to know, hey, what's going on with my job, there's only one place anyone needs to look. Right? It's not 17 different systems and a post-it notes and a whiteboard, one system. Cleaners, field workers, got their briefs sent by phone. They always had access to the codes with special instructions. Timesheets they could do in real time. So as they leave a job, say, I'm done, which meant that Friday, you don't have, no one's scrambling around trying to, figure out like, oh, where was I? Where was I? It's just like, no, it's all done because like we captured that information. We knew when they arrived, we knew when they left. Any reports and issues, they could just take a photo and say there's an issue and log it back to the job. No manual bits of paper, no third party reporting, real time, So literally if there's a problem, they get called, the customer can get called as the cleaner's leaving. Right. So things aren't slipping through the cracks. Amazing. And then, owners will be able to track better where they're coming from, loads of time saved, much higher client retention, and of course, scalable systems that are now allowing them to move from one location to multiple locations. I was thinking about whether or not to have the laptop there at all, but the point of this thing is that you, as the owner, the point of these good systems is that you spend less time in the system and more time doing what you actually want to, the reason you ran the business. Often it's not digging around in paperwork, it's more about going, what's the life you want to live and the freedom you want to create. And then you can, the dashboards are there, but you can get them when you need to. You're not then the bottleneck in the business anymore. So that's essentially the three-part playbook. Reduce your manual chaos, boost your communication professionalism, and create a systematized, scalable business. Oh, by the way, this will also increase the resale value of your business because now you have a system. It's not you being the system. So if that's of interest and you'd like to map out the custom path for yourself, I'd love to go and see how we apply the specific process to your business. Love to connect with you on LinkedIn or book a call with me directly. I'll drop these in the show notes. But that is that for now. Lois, any questions?
Yeah, so emphasizing this is all through Go High Level. You're not, like you said, you're not integrating a bunch of other softwares and things like that. And Go High Level, I just started using it about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago. It's a big animal. It's
Yeah,
huge. And there's so much that it can do, but really you you can't figure it out all on your own. You need somebody like John to put it together because it's just a beast. So yeah, and there were some things here that I didn't realize that Go High Level could do, like just the way that it tracked everything. And so once something's done, how do we tell Go High Level that part's done and it goes on to the next point?
yeah. I mean, Go High Level, it's a fantastic system, but it's just software, right? It still needs to some way, humans are the beating heart of any business. So
Mhm.
we try and think like, what are the human behaviors that are happening at different stages? What are the things you have to do anyway? And we kind of think of those as triggers. Um, Now, this is where there's a bit of finesse and kind of thinking about, like where for example, when a cleaner arrives, you got to they got to know that it's there,
Mhm.
right? That they're there, that they've arrived, right? And it can be as simple as now we don't want people logging in or logging out or kind of, messing around with things. We can do that. It's not necessary, but especially cleaners love to, they're always on their phones, right?
Part, I don't know if it's just cleaners. I think it's just about everybody.
Yeah, for sure. It says me reaching to check Instagram. Um, but yeah, so kind of you're looking at always design the system around the humans. So we think about what's going to be a natural thing and be like, okay, well, the thing that they often reach for as they get there is the access code or something like that. So the message that's got all the things just says, are you there? Yes, you click the button, it's already in the email that they're already looking at. Inside Go High Level, there's a feature called a trigger link, which means that then does some stuff. And you can build automations around that click that says, change the status, send the email, start the tracker, that kind of thing. Um, so those are the things that we're able to connect it. And it's a very versatile system because you can build all of these systems. And I will just also be clear that it's not it's the closest thing I've seen to the everything system, but it still doesn't. It maybe will take you from 15 different pieces of software down to four. Right. So it's not. There are a few things that we are struggling with, and I'll be up. I'm just going to upfront it because I want to be real with you and not pretend I'm selling magic beans here. It's still a real business, and there's still real challenges. For example, the rota is something we're continually struggling with, right? So we've tried a couple of different systems to automatically create the rota of working out, you know, things like if you start, you know, like there's this guy called Billy, who's an absolute animal. He does he's done up to 14 jobs a day, right? Unbelievable. Like this guy is absolutely crazy, but he's happy to work 14, 15 hours a day, and then you've got Julie, who's like, she's a single mom. She only wants to work 4 hours a day, right? So, we can kind of trying to model all of those different things has been a bit challenging. So what, but what we've done is because we're capturing the data consistently, they're going to go, hey, let's try this system. We'll plug this system in. All the client data is captured in a structured way. So we could say, okay, let's try this, upload all the data, and then all the new clients get populated in there. And then we can try that for a while. Then they're like, oh, we don't like this system. We could just find the new system, redirect everything, pop it up, try this for a bit. So those are the things, if the data is structured and you're capturing it, you're only then working out, it's that last piece that we're iterating. It's the difference between herding 2 cats versus 7 cats. Okay, it's still a bit of cat herding, but it's less
Yeah, which is
complicated.
still saving time and is still using
Yeah,
the technology that's available to us to just give us some time to grow a business, not own a job, and have some family time and do some things that we like to do. So, yeah, I think the
yeah,
system is great. I would really encourage you guys to at least schedule a call with John and see what steps could be integrated into your system to save you time or just to save you from shuffling paper, just to make your life a little bit easier would be great.
amazing. That is my great joy. I think human attention, human effort is just so precious that we can spend a little bit less time doing unnecessary admin,
Mhm.
a little bit time, getting smiles on people's faces, whether it be your staff, whether it be your customers. I think this is a good use. This is what technology is for, is making the humans in the systems more happy,
Mhm.
rather than just piling more tech on top of each other for the sake of it. I think the systems and the software should work for us, not the other way around.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good. We are going to have John's information below. Please reach out to him, schedule a time to have a chat, and just see how your system can be integrated into what this amazing software can do.
Amazing. And
So,
just to be clear on the call, zero sales pitch. I purely just want to understand what's the opportunity, and I'll be able to give you a plan to say these are the items I think that we could, here are where the opportunities are. If you choose to implement that with me, I'd love to help you. If you choose to do that on your own steam, totally fine, totally happy to do that. I'm here to be of service, and I want, ultimately you to serve your customers and have less ridiculous admin.
all right. All right. Well, thank you, John. I really appreciate your time.
All right, thanks, Lois. It's been incredible. Love being on the show, and I will see you on the internet.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thanks then.